Good day and welcome to another edition of Citizens Movement Radio News. Today is Monday, 14 July 2025. I'm Bernard Chele, ready to bring you the latest news and updates. Here are today's headlines on Citizens Movement Radio News. Above the law, ZANU-PF in tollgate and ZBC licenses scandal. Globetrotting Mnangagwa wasting taxpayers' money, says opposition. Taka Jamuka leader urges Chiwenga to use Mnangagwa's absence to arrest Shikananda. Now let's delve into the detailed stories. Vehicles belonging to ZANU-PF are reportedly passing through toll gates without paying toll fees. There are also reports that ZANU-PF vehicles do not pay for ZBC radio licenses and usually pass through police roadblocks without any hassles. Opposition official Sam Gondongwe told Citizens Movement Radio that there is a law for ordinary citizens and an unannounced law for ZANU-PF, as the ruling party is allowed to bend the rules without punishment. He said ZANU-PF is the biggest beneficiary of ZBC propaganda, yet they do not pay for ZBC licenses. Let's hear him speaking to our Citizens Movement Radio correspondent.
Vehicles belonging to ZANU-PF are reportedly passing through toll gates without paying toll fees. There are also reports that the ZANU-PF vehicles do not pay ZB radio licenses, and they usually pass through police roadblocks without any hassles. There is a law for ordinary citizens and an announced law for ZANU-PF as the ruling party, as they are allowed to bend the rules without punishment. ZANU is the biggest beneficiary of ZBC propaganda, yet they do not pay for ZBC license. They force the ZBC licenses down our throats, yet we don't even want to hear even the name ZBC. If you are a sane person in Zimbabwe, in fact, no sane person in Zimbabwe can tune in to ZBC to say, today I want to listen to ZBC, because there is nothing that you can learn, there is nothing that you can benefit, there is nothing that you can hear that will make you happy for the day, except giving you some rough shoddy in your heart, because the propaganda is too much, and ZANU-PF itself cannot even listen to it, but they want to force everyone. Instead of us moving forward and having those licenses put like what is done on these other platforms of TVs, where you pay a license when you want to watch. If you want to watch football, if you have not paid for the license, you can't watch football. That's what ZBC should do. If you want to listen to ZBC, and if you have no license, you should not listen to ZBC. Not forcing everyone that people should pay for the ZBC license. That's absurd, and it's so sad that ZANU-PF takes the law into its own hands, and even those that are supposed to apply the law, the custodians of the law, they also stand aloof when ZANU-PF comes in. They look aside like they are seeing nothing happening. The ZANU-PF cars, they pass by roadblocks, even carrying something that is not allowed, mixing goods with people, with passengers. But if you do it yourself, then you need to have some money in your pocket so that you pass at those roadblocks. So I think our nation and maybe our parliamentarians should speak loudly about those things that are happening in Zimbabwe, and make sure that the law is applied across the political divide. Hakuna zvinonzi uyu mwana wekwani, uyu mwana wekwani, mutemo ngao apply kumunhu wese, especially to the ZANU-PF nokuti ndo vanobenefita kwairi. Thank you.
ZANU-PF dictator Emmerson Mnangagwa has been condemned for wasting taxpayers' money globetrotting without benefits for the nation. Mnangagwa, who was in Equatorial Guinea over the weekend, is now in Japan and is expected to round off his tours with a trip to Algeria. Opposition official Stephen Sarkozy Chuma told Citizens Movement Radio that Mnangagwa's trips are costly to the nation as he travels with a private jet and huge entourage. Let's hear Chuma speaking.
Yes, we hear that our very own Marco Polo, Emerson Mnangagwa, the Globetrotter, is currently in Japan. This is after he recently attended an AU summit in Equatorial Guinea. But we hear that from Japan, Emerson Mnangagwa is heading straight to Algeria. This is quite shocking because Emerson Mnangagwa from Equatorial Guinea was supposed to go to Algeria within Africa. But we know that he has a penchant of wasting taxpayers' money. That's why he's traveling out of the continent to come back to the continent again for another meeting in Algeria. But what is important is that out of all his travels since he took over power in 2017 through a military coup, Emerson Mnangagwa has never brought any positive returns to the country of Zimbabwe. Actually, our people are suffering. There's no medicine in hospitals. The lecturers and teachers are on strike because of poor wages. We also know that our people are surviving on less than $1, which is the highest level of poverty that we can have in the continent. But Emerson Mnangagwa doesn't care about all that. Actually, he's hiring a very expensive private jet and is going to these countries with a huge crowd disguised as aides who will be on holiday. Yet the country is facing a serious crisis. There's no electricity, there's no running water. Everything is upside down in this country. And the country doesn't have a president because Emerson Mnangagwa currently he does not act like one. So Zimbabwe, our clarion call to all of you is that let's unite and confront this dictatorship of Emerson Mnangagwa, because there's nothing positive that is coming out of it except corruption, where a few elite like Kudakwashe Tagurei and Wikino Chivayo are enjoying the country's national cake, while the majority are sleeping on empty bellies.
Leader of Tajamuka People Power Pressure Group, Promise Mkwananzi, who is also opposition spokesman, as acting president Constantino Chiwenga, to use his powers in the absence of Emerson Mnangagwa to arrest corruption cartels infamously referred to as Gananda. In a statement in his social media platform seen by Citizens Movement Radio, Mkwananzi said Chiwenga must take a leaf from the late VP Joshua Nkomo, who used Robert Mugabe's absence to grant Strive Masiwa his communications operating license. Mkwananzi said Ganandas like Kudakwashe Tagwirei and Wikne Uchivayo must be arrested as they are bleeding the economy. We spoke to citizens who agreed with Mkwananzi that Chiwenga showed that he is a man of action, not words.
Maswera sei vana vezimbabwe, maswera sei masikati anhasi tichisangana pano pa Citizens Movement Radio tichikurukura nemashoko akataurwa navachiwengwa maringe nekubiwa kana kuti kuri kuitwa nyika nevanhu vane zvigananda zviri kuuraya nyika yezimbabwe. Mashoko ari kutaurwa navamukwananzi tinoyagamuchira zvikuru. Vamukwananzi vari kutaura chaizvo chaizvo, ende tinotaura kuti kutaura navamukwananzi tinovirirana nazvo kuti ivo vachivengwa kana vaine masimba ekuti vanogona kusunga zvigananda kana kuzunga vari kuita zveuore, ndo nguva yekuvasunga iyeyi. Ngavaite nguva iyo inguva yekuti vasunge zvigananda zviri kuuraya ikonomi yezimbabwe. Asi kana kuti mashoko ari kutaurwa naachivengwa mashoko kungotyichidzira bedzi asina simba rokusunga varume ava, hazvina zvazvinobatsira, nokuti kana ivo vachivengwa vaine simba iroro rokusunga, ngatiregei kuva nesimba rokutaura tisingagoni kuekta, but ngavave nesimba rekutaura nemanzwi acho achibva aoneka, action ichibva yaonekwa kuti vachivengwa vari kuekta as a acting president. Vasunga Tagwirei, vasungwa Skota, vasunga Chivayo, zvoonekwa nenyika yese, nokuti vana vezimbabwe ndio vari kusafa. Asi chatiri kuda isusu hatisi kuda mashoko, tiri kuda zvinhu kuti zviitwe, paitwe action, nokuti zvinhu zviri kutaurwa nevana vezimbabwe zvagara zvichitaurwa nevana vezimbabwe kuti tiri kubiwa, ikonomi yedu iri mumaoko memafia, ikonomi yedu iri kurwanwa nemafia. haisi kuranwa negovernment yakaelectwa nevanhu vemuzimbabwe, but iri kuranwa nemamafias ari kutora maresources enyika vachidya ivo neshamwari dzavo nevana vavo. Asi ruzhinji rwese rudhende rwese tiri kuona, tiri kurarama muupenyu hwakaoma, muupenyu hwekushaya medication muhospitals, muupenyu hwekushaya even chokudya nevana mudzimba dzatigere. Saka tinoti isusu zvekuti vanhu vachivengwa izvi ngavaite action, vabate mbavha idzi, ngavaite action, vabate matsotsi aya. Ngatiregei kuda kuregererana. Nyika iyi haisi nyika yeZANU-PF, inyika yevanhu. Kana muchiti paya paendai kumaelection munoelecta vatungamiriri, toda vatungamiriri vanobva kuvanhu, vatungamiriri vanoita zvido zvevanhu. Asi munyika yedu zvinonetsa ndechekuti kana ukada kudemonstrata kuti zvakati izvi hatisi kuda vana veZimbabwe, unosungwa. Zvakati hatisi kuda izvi, unosungwa. Kasi takada kunatsa kuona kuti ukatarisa muno muSouth Africa chaimo, muSouth Africa kuna police commissioner akataura kuti munyika muno mune vakuru vemapurisa vanoita huori. Dai mupurisa iye vanonzi vamukwananzive kuDurban ari kuti ndikomishina wemapurisa vemuZimbabwe, angave kuBulawayo, angave kuMasvingo kana vemuHarare, ungadai mupurisa yakasungwa akatourayiwa, ungadai mupurisa yakaurayiwa. Saka tikuti isisu Zimbabwe ngaive Zimbabwe yevanhu, kwete Zimbabwe yemapoliticians, kwete Zimbabwe yembavha. Thank you very much. God bless you.
The opposition has been urged to do more and go beyond social media posting and confront ZANU-PF corruption through action. Political analyst Simba Mkori told Citizens Movement Radio that despite closure of democratic space by Emmerson Mnangagwa, the opposition must mobilize and organize masses to fight rampant corruption. He said the opposition must create a platform convergence for citizens to act against corruption and human rights violations. Let's hear Mkori speaking to our Citizens Movement Radio correspondent.
Indeed, what lies at the center of economic dysfunctionality in Zimbabwe is corruption. Corruption is so rampant to the extent that it has made our economy so moribund and dead. And the only hope that we have is the opposition, the democratic alternative, coming together to mobilize and organize the masses in order to fight against corruption. We have got an administration that is in power, that tolerates kleptocracy, that tolerates thievery, that tolerates corrupt tendencies. We do have to have an alternative that then becomes very transparent and accountable, and must fight against the excesses of thievery, the excesses of the kind of things that are happening in the country in terms of looting and the plundering of our national resources. The monies that must be made in Zimbabwe must be channeled towards ensuring that we maintain and we try to make sure that our health system is in order, our education system is catered for, the infrastructure is catered for. We have got a very efficient and well-paid civil service, and our doctors and nurses must be paid well. But all those things do not happen. Why? Because the majority of the money is looted by those who have got corrupt tendencies. Corruption has killed the economy, but it must therefore be the responsibility of our opposition to mobilize the people, to galvanize them, and to fight against the rampant corruption that is endemic in the country. It's actually a pandemic. So that is what I would want to urge the opposition, that they must do more in order to really make sure that we root out corruption. We must exterminate the corrupt tendencies of those people who are looting and plundering our resources and pillaging the resources of the country. And this must be taken seriously in order to make sure that we stop the hemorrhage of our national resources. Corruption is killing the economy.
The book launch of opposition politician Job Scala in Masvingo was disrupted by ZANU-PF thugs at Charles Austin Center. Posting on his social media platforms, Sikala said the police in Masvingo refused to open a docket against ZANU-PF thugs who attacked guests at the book launch. This is despite the thugs having been positively identified and their leader, Isao Mutano, is an aide of ZANU-PF provincial chair Ezra Chadzamira. Opposition youth leader in Masvingo province, Calvin Tinaro, was on Friday acquitted of trumped-up charges of mobilizing people to remove Emerson Mnangagwa. Tinaro spent close to a month in pre-trial detention following his arrest on 31 March. Citizens Movement Radio spoke to Tinaro following his acquittal and had this to say.
Ndinokutendai mutori wenhau hongu musi wefriday 11 July tanga tiri pamasvingo Magistrates Courts apo pataitarisira kusangana nemutongo kana kuti kunopinda trial sezvo hurumende kana kuti state yanga yati musi wa11 inenge yapedza kugadzira umboo hunenge hwavepo, asi takazofara nekukatyamadzwa futi pamwe chete tichiona macourts achikwanisa kunodismisa kana kuti achikwanisa kunorasa nyaya nenyaya yekuti state yakashaya umboo kana kuti yakashaya proof yemhosva yavaindipomera yekukurudzira mhirizhonga. Izvo zvinova zvinorwadza sezvo ndakanowanikwa ndichigara mujeri for nearly a month without bail ndichipomerwa mhosva iyoyi, asi pakupedzisira yozowanikwa isina umboo kuratidza kuti yaingova mhosva yemanyepo yandaipomerwa nehurumende yava Emerson Mnangagwa, iyo isina tsitsi kana kuti isina chido nemacitizens ayo, especially isu veopposition tinenge tichitaura chokwadi. Vanofunga kuti kusunga kana kuti kurova kana kuita anything zvinotidzosa kumashure. Kwete, vaMnangagwa totokuudzai kuti kana tiri sesu vechidiki hatisi kuzomira kusvika mabva pachigaro, kusvika masiya donzo renyu kana kuti gwara renyu re2030 ratiri kupokana naro. Tiri kuda kuti 2028 kuve nemaelections, so hatisi kumira, uye tiri kuda ma-electoral reforms. Tiri kuda kuti masarudzo dzive jekerere, dzive dzinenge dzakachena dzisina chipomerwa madziri. Saka system yekusunga kana kuti kutyisidzira vechidiki haina chainotimisa mudonzo redu ratinaro rekugadzira Zimbabwe, harina charinotimisa. Mungatozvinetsa nekutyisidzira kana kuti nekutisunga, isusu hatisi kudzoka kumashure. Ndati ndikutumirei mashoko aya andiri kutaura vaMnangagwa kuti isu vechidiki, especially semuno mumasvingo, hatisi kudzoka kumashure, hatisi kuzofa takadzokazve kumashure, nekuti masunga kana kuti marova vechidiki kana kuti maita anything kuma-opposition members, hatisi kudzoka kumashure. Ike zvino tiri kumira, chamati muri kuda nesu tiri kudawo, hatisi kuzodzoka kumashure. Right, hondo inopera nehondo.
Kenya has announced the removal of visa requirements for all African countries and most Caribbean nations with immediate effect. Only Libya and Somalia are not exempted from visa requirements due to security concerns. Kenya said the new visa policy is aimed at promoting tourism and economic development by allowing easy travel to the East African nation. Over the years, there have been calls for African nations to remove travel restrictions amongst themselves. In another regional news, South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa suspended his police minister Zenzo Mchunu yesterday to pave way for a commission of inquiry to look at corruption and abuses of power leveled against Mchunu by KZN top police officer Hlahlankwanasi. In his address to the nation yesterday night, Ramaphosa said the commission of inquiry will be led by acting Deputy Chief Justice Mbuyiseni Madlanga. Let's hear part of the speech.
These allegations, therefore, call for an urgent and comprehensive investigation. To address these allegations and the implications of these allegations, I'm establishing a judicial commission of inquiry that will be chaired by Acting Deputy Chief Justice Mbuyiseni Madlanga, Justice Madlanga will be assisted by Advocate Sesi Baloi, Senior Counsel, and Advocate Sandile Kumalo, Senior Counsel. The Commission will investigate allegations relating to the infiltration of law enforcement, intelligence, and associated institutions within the criminal justice system by criminal syndicates. Among the allegations that the Commission may investigate are the facilitation of organized crime, suppression or manipulation of investigations, inducement into criminal actions by law enforcement leadership, commission of any other criminal offenses, and intimidation, victimization or targeted removal of whistleblowers or officials that are resisting criminal influence. The Commission will investigate the role of current or former senior officials in certain institutions who may have aided or abetted the alleged criminal activity, or failed to act on credible intelligence or internal warnings, or benefited financially or politically from a syndicate's operations. These institutions are the South African Police Service, the National Prosecuting Authority, State Security Agency, the Judiciary and the Magistracy, and the Metropolitan Police Departments of Johannesburg, Ekurhuleni, and Tshwane. The Commission will also investigate whether any members of the National Executive responsible for the criminal justice system were complicit, aided and abetted, or participated in the acts mentioned above. The Commission will be asked to report on the effectiveness or failures of oversight mechanisms and the adequacy of current legislation, policies, and institutional arrangements in preventing such infiltration. It will make findings and recommendations for criminal prosecutions, disciplinary actions, and institutional reform. Once established, the Commission shall consider prima facie evidence relating to the involvement of individuals who are currently employed within law enforcement or intelligence agencies. Where appropriate, the Commission must make recommendations on the employment status of such officials currently employed, including whether they should be suspended pending the outcome of further investigations. The Commission will have the power to refer matters for immediate investigation and urgent decisions on prosecution, taking into account the nature of the allegations and the evidence the Commission will uncover.
In a sad story, former President of Nigeria Muhammadu Buhari passed away yesterday in a London clinic aged 82. Buhari reportedly traveled to the UK for medical checkup in April and subsequently fell ill. He made history in 2015 as the first opposition leader in Nigeria to defeat the incumbent. Buhari, however, once ruled Nigeria for 20 months after taking over power through a military coup in 1983. Now let's take a look at our sports news. The Zimbabwe men's rugby team, the Sables, are through to the Rugby Africa Cup final after beating Kenya 29-23. They will face Namibia in the final after beating Algeria 21-7. The final will be played on the 19th of July at the Mandela Stadium in Uganda. The winner of the match will have a chance to qualify for the Rugby World Cup due to be held in Australia in 2027. In the Kasolaga Premiership matches played over the weekend, Dynamos lost 1-0 to T1 to sink deeper into relegation spots. Moors lost 1-0 to Yada to surrender top spot to Simba Bora, who beat Rentals 3-2. Scotland edged Ngezi Platinum 2-1, while FC Platinum beat Chicken Inn 1-0. Bikita Minerals 1-0 against Kwekwe United, and Howlanders downed Greenfield by same scoreline. ZBC Kariba and Manica Diamonds played a goalless draw, and Cape United also shared spoils with Triangle following a 1-0 scoreline. Chelsea were last night crowned world champions after hammering PSG 3-0 in the final of FIFA Club World Cup at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, USA. Chelsea got their goals from Cole Palmer, who scored a brace, a new signing João Pedro in the first half. PSG midfielder João Neves received a red card later in the second half for violent conduct after pulling Marc Cucurella's hair. Iga Swiatek won the Women's Wimbledon trophy after beating Amanda Anisimova in 2 straight sets on Saturday. Yesterday, Jannik Sinner beat Carlos Alcaraz 3-1 in the Men's Wimbledon final. To conclude our Citizens Movement Radio News, here are the headlines once more. Above the law, ZANU-PF in tollgate and ZBC licenses scandal. Globetrotting Mnangagwa wasting taxpayers' money, says opposition. Tajamuka leader urges Chiwenga to use Mnangagwa's absence to arrest Gananda. The news on CMR English was brought to you by Bernard Schele. Me and the whole team wishes you all a good night and hope you all had a wonderful weekend. Meet me again in another news bulletin.